I'm an operator within a chemical plant. Most of our data comes into Pi via a control system. However, we do some lab analysis in the control room, and those devices are not instrumented. So I'm going to use Pi Manual Logger to assist me getting data into Pi. Let me demonstrate that now. I'll start the application. It's within the Pi System menu group, then within a folder, Pi Manual Logger. The first thing I'll see is a prompt for username and password. I'm going to use a user that my Pi sysadmin has provided to me for data entry. What I see here is the Manual Logger Getting Started display. It includes many of the common tasks I might want to do within Manual Logger. This includes manage tour runs and enter manual data. All of the options found here are also available through the toolbar menus. I want to enter manual data, so that's what I'm going to select now. I'll see a new window which has a list of tours. Again, with Manual Logger terminology, a tour is a set of tags for which data will be collected. A tour run is the actual data collection instance. Once I choose a tour, then I'll have a prompt for a new tour run. What's included here is the tour name, the operator name, that's the user I'm logged on as, and then also a timestamp. This is the tour timestamp. Depending on how configured, my tags will likely inherit this timestamp. I have some choices for changing the timestamp. The plus and minus buttons let me move forward or backward an hour, and the zeros let me zero out the minutes and seconds. That might be needed if I chose the Now button, which would be a precise time, with perhaps an odd time and odd seconds. I'm going to accept that time and say OK. Once I do that, I'm presented with the data entry screen. On the left is General Tour Run info, including that timestamp that I accepted when I started the run. I can still change that here if I desire. In the data entry area, I see the tag name and spots to enter the value and also a comment. The comment is optional. I also see the tag as a timestamp that's been inherited from the tour. Over in the right pane, I see Tag Info. The tab that's selected is the Tag Attributes. At the bottom, I have a tree view that's a listing of all of my tags. I can move or navigate through the tour by selecting individual tags. As I move to the second tag in the tree view, notice that I've also moved to the second tag in the data entry form. That's just two ways of doing navigation. Also available to me is previous values. I see that that's a second tab across in Tab Info. Once I select that, I have a table of data values and also a chart. I can expand the chart by clicking on the Trend button. This trend is very much like the process book trend. For the tag I've selected, it's a brand new tag, so it has no data, only point created. But let's look at some of the features here. Some of the tasks are very much the same as the process book trend. One of those is zoom. I can left mouse click, drag to the right, and then release, and what I'll have then is a zoom on the Y and X axis, just like the process book trend. I can go back to original settings by clicking on the revert button. We'll also see I have a trend cursor available to me, just like a process book trend. Finally, I can add a trace to this trend as well. I'm going to close this now. Now looking across the tabs, I've been focusing on the data entry form that shows individual tags. There are other options across the top. We'll see the data entry sheet, which presents us more of in a spreadsheet form, and I can enter values here and comments as well. I prefer the data entry form format, so that's where I'll start. I'm now ready to do my data entry. So my first tag is Finished Product Appearance. I'll notice at the bottom there are operator instructions for me that assist me with how to take the test. The data value, since it's product appearance, is not a numeric value, so I'm going to check the drop-down list. I'll see I have a choice of clear, cloudy, or dark. In addition, there's a choice for no sample at the bottom. Since this is separated by space, I know that this is an option for all of the tags in my tour. I'm going to choose cloudy because I've looked at the sample and that's what it looks like. That's all that's required for the data entry. To move on to another tag, I can enter the number of the tag in the list, use the arrow, which is probably the most common option, or I can jump around using this list here, and that's what I'll do here just to show I can do these out of order. So I'm going to pick pH next. I accidentally had a typo and entered 15.3 when I meant to type 11.3. You see there's some data validation here, and it checked me and told me that I must enter a pH between 0 and 14. So I'm going to go correct that value. And then I'll see over here in my tag list, I now have check marks by the two values I've entered. That's changed from the question mark, indicating that these have entered values. So I'm going to move on to density. One thing, I'm checking over here at description, and it talks about entering the density using a hydrometer. I already know this, but in my case my hydrometer is broken and I can't do the test, so I can't enter a numeric value here. But I can take advantage now of this no sample option. If I want to give more information, I could actually enter a comment. So I'm going to do that here just to let someone know the reason why I didn't take a sample. Okay, now all of my values have been entered, so I'm ready to send these to Pi. I could review these by jumping around in the list, or I can just go on and send to Pi. If I look at the toolbar options at the bottom, as I hover over each of these, I get tooltips. Here's Send to Pi. When I click on this, I'll see that my status updates. It's very quickly sent data to Pi. So I could enter another tour at this time or exit PyML. I'm going to exit PyML. Normally I wouldn't check my values, but I'm training another operator alongside me, so I want to demonstrate that the values actually went into Pi. To do this, I'm going to use PyDataLink. So first I'll bring up Excel. Once Excel comes up, I'm going to do a tag search and grab the tags that I've been entering data for. All my tags are prefaced with an ML, so it's very easy to find them. Now that I have the tag list, I'm going to go and grab the current values using the DataLink function. Now I see the values as I entered them in PyML. I see no sample for my product density, 11.3 for pH, and then cloudy for the appearance. If you recall, I also entered an annotation on the density to explain the no sample. There's not an option to see annotations in current values, so I'll go grab compressed values because there is an annotation option there. Just going to grab the most current value, so I'm going to go start time of now and just grab one. I want to make sure I check off the annotation checkbox here. Say OK. Oops. Actually missed my tag name. Let me grab that here. Okay, now I see I have the value back and also the annotation that I entered in PyML. Hydrometer is broken. So I've demonstrated to the operator that I'm training that I could easily enter data values in PyManual Logger on the PC and then show that the values are actually into Pi.